The new output element is used for displaying the results of a calculation. Let's take a look at this. I'll make a working copy of output.html, and I'm just going to rename this to output-working.html. Open this in the text editor. You notice this one uses the forms.css, but it is not using the forms.javascript. Instead, it has its own little JavaScript in here. We'll look at that in a minute. We have a little form here with a couple of number fields. And again, in most browsers, that number field will just show up as a text field, and we're going to be using Firefox that works that way. And we have a little div for our results, and it just has these result fields in it. And you'll notice that it has an output element for each of these results. So let's go ahead and load this in the browser. Open this with Firefox, and we have our couple of little number fields here. And I'm just going to put in a number, and you'll notice that it's immediately starting to calculate. And as I type, it's calculating. And this is because we're using this onInput event here in the form. Now, it's worth noting at this point that onInput as well as the output element are not supported yet in the current versions of Microsoft Internet Explorer, which is IE 9 and before. It is implemented in IE 10. So if you have IE 10 by the time you're seeing this, it ought to work. It's currently implemented in all the other browsers that I have tested. And it's this onInput event that allows us to just type and have the results immediately show up. And so it's calling calc, and calc is this little function here. Very simple. It simply gets the value of A and B, and it does a little math for sum, product, diff, quotient, and remainder. And it loads the values of those. And those are these output elements. So you have ID sum, diff, product, quotient, and remainder. The for attribute associates it with these other IDs, A and B, so that the browser knows that these are associated. Now, when I look at how this is implemented, there's a lot of things about it that don't quite make sense to me. So either it'll continue to morph and evolve and change as it gets implemented, or it won't. For one thing, I found that it's not restricted to numeric output, and yet the spec says that it is used for the output of calculations. And I'm not really seeing the value of this for attribute. It doesn't seem to do anything, at least not in the ways that I've seen it demonstrated on the internet, and I haven't seen a lot of demonstrations of it. So this is a new element. The implementations I've seen don't really limit it to numeric output. It looks like it could be convenient for a lot of different uses, but I hate to recommend that as we really don't know what the browsers are going to do with it. At this point, I'm considering it semantically tied to the results of calculations, but we'll see where it goes in the future.